Alright, so I wanted to record something to talk about the fact that I just hit GM in Mobile Rivals and I'm playing on PC. You can see pretty clearly that I'm playing on PC, and you can tell because if I'm playing on a controller, it looks like this instead. So you can see that I'm on PC. But very clearly, as you might have guessed, I got here playing controller. I climbed. I only played. I played mouse and keyboard from like a little bit in bronze and a little bit in silver. But really, once I hit gold and plat, I stopped playing it and just played controller only because I'm way more comfortable with it. There's a couple of reasons for that. Obviously, I just haven't learned mouse and keyboard yet, and I would love to learn mouse and keyboard more and feel like I'm improving at that. But I don't know how to say this. My setup is pretty awful. I don't have a mouse pad, and my actual space is horrible. My mouse is wired, and my PC is not even on my quote unquote desk, which isn't even a desk. It's just a large set of drawers. So I haven't really played mouse and keyboard. So I got here on controller instead because I'm much more comfortable playing it. And yeah, I feel pretty proud of myself for hitting GM on controller. This is the highest rank I've ever hit in any game well, any competitive game really. I mean, I guess technically speaking, I hit the highest rank in Unite, but so has like 90% of the player base, so that doesn't really feel special because everyone in that game is in the top two ranks because the game just funnels you to those ranks by feeding you bot games. Anyway, that aside, uh, how do I say this? I now I've hit my highest rank ever. I'm really worried about immediately losing it. Immediately just losing it, like losing a couple games in a row and dropping back down to diamond and feeling like, well, feeling like shit. Feeling like I never really deserved it and it was just a lucky series of games and I just happened to get there, you know? Um, that's kind of how I'm starting to feel a little bit. Because I actually did lose my first game in GM. I just played it just now, and I lost. And I'm already starting to feel like, oh, maybe I really am not that good, and maybe I really don't deserve this rank. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, GM3 isn't even that impressive, right? In Overwatch, this is only Masters, and obviously, oh, this is an easier game than Overwatch, and oh, GM3 and GM1 have a massive skill gap, and oh, you aren't really that good at the game unless you hit like Celestial or Eternity or Top 500 or whatever it is. And there are about a million and one ways that you can downplay this as an achievement too. I don't really care too much about it being downplayed. I don't really mind that so much because I can kind of ignore it, right? Someone says, oh, something you achieved really didn't mean that much. It doesn't matter because it meant something to me, right? Hitting this rank, getting this high, it means something to me. This is the highest rank I've hit in a competitive game like this. I feel like I accomplished something. It was a goal of mine to hit this rank, and I finally got there, and it means a lot to me. Um, but the the feeling like, oh, maybe I didn't really deserve it. Maybe I can't really compete at this level. The feeling of, oh, I can't climb any higher because I'm playing on a controller. Or, oh, these people can just do things I can't. Like, for an example, right? I've played quite a bit of Doctor Strange because I think he's a fun hero. And he reminds me a little bit of playing Reinhardt because he has the right click shield type of gameplay. Obviously, to me, it's left bumper, but And I remember up until like Diamond, I didn't really feel like I was at any kind of disadvantage. But then I started to get this thing that happened a couple times, which is the enemy team would have a Doctor Strange, and they would go in to ult my backline. And if I was playing on a PC on mouse and keyboard, I would have been able to turn fast enough to block it. But I'm playing on a controller, so I either have to block it preemptively or I miss it. And that happened to me a bunch of times where I would try to just react and block it, and I wouldn't be able to do it fast enough because I couldn't turn fast enough because I'm on a controller. Even though on a mouse and keyboard you could do the actions that I was trying to do and then just react anyway, exactly as I was trying to do, you can't do that on a controller because you just can't turn quick enough unless you turn your sensitivity up insanely high. And if you turn your sensitivity up insanely high, the game is basically unplayable on controller. At least for me. I don't like having my sense that high. It just doesn't work for me. I tried it for a while and it felt really bad. It felt horrible. So yeah. This is... It's hard to say, but like, I feel like in competitive games, much more so than other mediums, when people look at your achievements, a lot of the first reaction to that is to put you down for that. Not to say, "Oh, congratulations, this is really impressive. This is very cool. I'm glad you hit your goal." It's to put you down, to say, "Oh, well, this doesn't mean that much," and blah 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 blah. X, Y, and Z reason why this isn't good enough. And if you really want to be good, you need to keep climbing higher and keep fucking grinding and grinding and grinding until your fucking bones are dust. And you know, I think in some ways it's not wrong to say shit like that, right? In some ways it's not wrong, but to look at this achievement, right? To look at this was a personal goal for me, right? To look at this and then say, "Oh, GM3 isn't that impressive," because a lot of the people in there aren't that good anyway. GM1 is way more impressive, and even then, you're not even in Celestial yet, and etc., etc., etc. To downplay like that isn't something you see a lot in other mediums, and I've been thinking about, why does that happen so much in gaming, right? Why do people care so much about putting everyone else down to just make themselves feel better? Because, like, when you hit GM3, the game tells you you're ranked higher than 91% of other players globally. In any other medium, being ranked above 91% of your competitors, regardless of what that the rest of the top 9% looks like, being ranked in the top 10% of the player base would be something that's like, oh my god, like, that person's amazing. But here, it's, oh, it's not that impressive. And I don't really know how to feel about that. Because me personally, I'm kind of used to this kind of thing, right? When I hit Diamond for the first time in Overwatch, it was like, oh, that's really cool. I shortly deranked back down to Plat, right? It didn't happen. It happened pretty fast. I played, I won a game or two, and then I lost a few in a row, and I was back in Plat again. And I never hit Diamond again because I never grinded the game enough after that point to actually hit it. Because even though my goal was to hit Diamond and I finally got there, I didn't think Masters or GM or anything was achievable for me, at least not without playing a lot of the game. And by the time that I had actually hit my goal with Overwatch, I was really starting to not enjoy the game anymore. Part of that is just the game's design, of course, but like, the game was starting to become really frustrating and really annoying, and why am I not getting better at the same pace I was before, right? I haven't quite hit that wall yet with this game, although I am sort of feeling the why am I not getting better as much as I feel like I should be. It feels to me more so like, how do I say this? I'm still having fun playing Rivals. I still enjoy just playing the game. It feels fun, which wasn't really the case with Overwatch at that point. And also, I just, I just wasn't like, I feel like there's an explanation really for why I'm not feeling like I'm improving as much as I should be, I feel like the answer is pretty laid out in front of me, very literally in this sense, and that's really all there is to it. It feels like the answer is just I should be playing on a mouse and keyboard if I really want to compete at this level and start to get better. And I'm deliberately choosing not to. I don't think that it's impossible to climb that high with a controller. I really don't. I do think there's a difference, and I do think you're playing at a disadvantage, but I don't think the disadvantage is as big as it may seem, really. I think if you can climb to a rank where you're above 90% of the player base, then the gap really isn't as big as it seems. And I think it is doable to get higher. I don't know what the highest I could climb on controller really is, unless I continue to try to get there, but I I don't think you could ever reach like top 1, obviously, right? I don't think you could ever get there. And I don't think you could really get top 50, top 100 either. You could maybe get top 500 with it. Maybe. I'm not even sure of that. But I think you could get to like Celestial or maybe Eternity. I do genuinely think you could get there. I don't know if I can get there. And that kind of sucks. Um, there's a lot of things that are like running through my head with this. I wanted to also like record something where I was like how I hit GM on controller. But like if I just hit GM and then never play another game, right? Which is what I was honestly considering. I didn't actually want to queue ranked. I chose to for the reasons that I'm laying out here because I didn't want to lose my rank. You get a little fucking banner thing you can put on the top right of your little banner when you finish a season in GM or above, and I wanted to get that so that I could say, hey, I was a GM player. But was I really in GM if I never queued a game after hitting it? If I just peaked there once and then refused to play another match just so I could hog my rank and never play another match again, just so I can say, oh, I hit GM once and I finished a season in GM? It doesn't really mean much at that point. If you can't hit it again, if you can't maintain the rank, what does it really mean? You know? I already have the thing on my profile that says I peaked at GM, right? So, even though a part of me almost feels FOMO for that tiny little thing right there that guy below me has. He's in Diamond 1. He finished the season in GM, but he's in Diamond 1. That guy right there is probably doing exactly what I'm doing. Or at least probably did exactly what I considered doing. I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to risk it because, to me, like I said, it wouldn't really mean much if I just sat there and hogged the rank for the rest of the season to, like, what? Just to make myself feel better? Just to give myself a pretty little thing to hang on my profile? The fact I hit GM will always be on my profile anyway. And no one can take that fact away from me. No one can take it away from me that I hit this rank and that I'm good at this video game. That I tried, and I really, really fucking tried to learn this game and improve, and that I was able to do it. I don't know why my team is banning Black Panther, but I guess I'll join in. Yeah. There's a lot of things to talk about with this game, at least for me, which I find really interesting. One thing for me so far is I really, really, at least personally, have been struggling. I've been struggling to get where I want, or at least I've been struggling to feel like I'm still improving. I'm understanding of the fact that, like, I don't know, I have the advantage of I played Overwatch for multiple years. I have like 500 hours in the game. I think I have more than that actually. I think I have like 6 or 7. Um, and like over half of it is in competitive. So I've played a lot of Overwatch, and I understand that I'm coming in with an advantage against a lot of these players. Maybe not in mechanical skill, um, specifically, right? They're probably much better than me mechanically. I've seen people who are in fucking gold who have better mechanics than I do, right? Uh, in both Overwatch and in Rivals, I've seen people in really low ranks who have genuinely better mechanics than me. Um, but I don't think that everything comes down to mechanics, especially not, well, especially not when you choose the role deliberately that takes the least amount of mechanical skill, arguably. This isn't to say tank takes no mechanical skill, but the original reason I peaked Diamond 5 on tank and I started to become a tank main was because I had heard from streamers I liked, like Flats and other people, that tank didn't take as much mechanical skill. It took game sense and positioning and like genuinely just knowing how to play the video game. And if knowing how to play the video game was all I really needed, then I thought, hey, I can become good, right? I can get good at this if all I have to do is learn how to play the game. And that's what I did. I learned how to play Overwatch. I didn't learn how to make my mechanics insane. I learned how to play the game. My rocket is DCing. He's literally just lagging out and DCing. There isn't really much I can say, because in the end, it just is what it is. I have a DC in my game, and so I'm going to lose. It is what it is, right? Hopefully the match gets cancelled. I doubt it, but if it does, then that would be nice. Yep, and there he goes. Yeah. I don't know. It does not appear as though, this match will be cancelled. So, yeah. That's something that I don't like about this game, is you don't really get any, like, unless someone leaves extremely early in a match, you don't really get any sort of repentance or whatever, or recompensation for your teammate just leaving mid-game. Like, that wasn't even a late leave, that was very early. That was in the first, like, 3-4 minutes, but we get nothing. We just don't get anything. And you know, it sucks because it feels like sometimes there isn't a great deal you can do. Like, sometimes it just feels like someone's very intent on not winning the game. And at times it feels like there's nothing you can do about that. And people will say, oh, well, if you're just so much better than them, if you're really that much better, if you're really this rank, that rank, whatever, then you should just be able to carry. Because that's what happens in unranked GM. Is these people just carry, right? In an unranked GM game, in unranked GMs, the person doing the unranked GM generally just wins. Generally speaking, you don't see shit like, oh, someone. You don't see the games that are lost because someone just decided they don't want to play. But that will happen sometimes, and if someone just decides they don't want to win the game, then you probably can't really do anything about it. That doesn't feel good, but it will happen sometimes. I'm gonna try this in the hope that my team will touch in time. I was right to believe. Sometimes you just have to have a little faith. We will lose anyway, but I don't really regret it too much, because at least I tried to make it happen. Yeah. But like, this is what I mean, right? Looking at the stats, I'm kind of losing my team this game, it looks like. And I probably am. It doesn't feel good, you know? It feels bad. And maybe it's just the pressure of, oh, I'm in a higher rank now. Maybe it's a lot of different things, but it feels like... It feels very bad. It feels very bad. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try and talk a little bit less, I suppose. I've not really done this before. So I'm not used to trying to focus on a ranked game while talking into a mic with lo-fi music in the background. I was just inspired. I've wanted to do this kind of thing for so long. And with the advent of mobile rivals and me playing this game a fuck ton, I have something of an avenue to speak, and I feel like I should start trying to do something YouTube-wise, because I've wanted to for a long time. This is all... The actual concept of all this is kind of depressing, right? Everything, like, anything you ever achieve in a game like this, people will always try to downplay you and make it out like you're not very good. And that is kind of true, right? People will try to downplay you and make it seem like you suck. And that isn't particularly fun. But in the end, there's just not too much you can do about it. I'm oathbound, though. He's too far away. Even though he got himself stuck in a corner. There's also a thing of... This game has, like, some really unfortunate aspects to it, of course. Other than just... Oh, ranked sucks. God, there's so much happening on the screen. Okay, finally. Something I obviously could also do. There's a bunch of different ways I could improve myself. Joining VC, I could do that. That would help a lot. I could have communicated with my team there to say, hey, I'm in a stranger. And, you know, maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't. But it's worth a try, right? I have to... I don't even know what stopped me from moving there, but something did. But sometimes you can't just try harder, right? There's not always something you can do, personally. A lot of the time there is, but, you know, not every time. You can't always just be better. You can't always just be better. Um, it's... You always put a lot... People always put a lot of pressure on themselves in these kind of games and in these kind of situations when you like reach a new rank. And I'm doing the same. I'm like literally this whole video, this whole recording has been about me doing exactly that. I've put a fuck ton of pressure on myself because I've hit my highest peak, and now I'm thinking to myself, hey, will I just lose 2 games in a row, drop back down, and then never hit GM again, like I did in Overwatch? Maybe. You know, maybe. There's a couple things I'll say, which is there's a million different ways that I could choose to try and get better, quote unquote, and um, and climb. I could find someone to queue with, duo queuing, generally, just queuing with someone, having one other teammate that you're in communication with at the very bare minimum that you trust. Generally, will always help you a lot with climbing. It helps your mental. It helps you in so many ways, and it would help me, and I know it. I know it would help me. I know it would help me, and I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you it wouldn't help me, because I'm just human like everyone else. It would. Having someone to queue with would absolutely make my ranked grind easier, and I would probably be climbing higher, and I would be getting there even faster. But you learn a lot more, and you improve a lot more solo queuing, actually. At least in my opinion. I think you generally improve a lot more at whatever game you're trying to learn by just playing on your own. I think solo queuing is generally worse for your mental, but better for your actual climbing. Oh. Even though they've been contesting this whole time, they never actually capped, even for a second. So even if we lost there, we would have gained like 70%, 65 probably, of capture, even if we lost that team fight in the end, which we didn't, and I saved my ult. There's a lot to be said for, like, the different ways that I could choose to improve that don't involve actually improving at the game. Duo queuing, just joining VC, etc., etc. Hell, even just like something as simple as just get coaching, right? Just get a coach. That'll improve. That'll improve your game. Yeah, it will. It worked well enough. Anyway. Um, how do I say this? I feel, I don't know. Like I'm happy that I won that game, right? I'm very happy I won, because I'm now not in demotion range, and I won a game in GM, right? But also, I'm not so happy I won, because, like, just looking at the stats, it looks like I got carried pretty hard. And maybe that's just my mental being hit, but yeah. Regardless, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. How rough it can be to hit your peak and feel like you almost don't deserve it. I think that's about it for now.